It is my good fortune and my happiness to be able to talk about the America's Hometown Laureate for just a brief moment, and then I will introduce our new Poet Laureate. But I don't know how many of you folks were around in 2020 when the library hosted our finalist reading for the first Plymouth Poet Laureate, of which Miriam was a part of that event. We had over 100 people in this room that night. It was near the end of February, and shortly thereafter, we had to close our doors to the public for COVID. So things moved along as far as the Poet Laureate was appointed. It was Stephen Delbo's, and he went off on his own while we all went off on our ways and hid in our corners. And then a couple years go by, and I came, as I said, I was retired, and I ran into Stephen Cole, who is works for the Plymouth Foundation, Development Foundation. And he's the one who brought the idea to us to create a Plymouth Poet Laureate. He's quite a wise man and has a great sense of humor. So we got connected and said, so what's going to happen next? We're into like the second year of the term, we've got to do something. So we pulled together, we ended up making it a nonprofit organization with, we're up to 7 directors are on the committee, on the board. And we began our work to do some more poetry events and to bring forth the next Poet Laureate. And Stephen Delbos, he said, I never knew whether there would be a second one. And so it meant more to him to hand over the torch to our new Poet Laureate, Miriam O'Neill, who's just been wonderful. So please come up.
Wow. Now I really have to perform. It has been wonderful to inherit from Stephen Delbos this position, and I'm so happy to be part of the group that's bringing poetry to the greater Plymouth area. Many of you know about Poetry, the Art of Words, which is my baby now. And so happy to expand it and bring in more people and make the community larger. So I came into the list, I received the list from Jennifer, and I said, I want some women. Could I have some women Irish poets in the list? Given that we had a great tradition of these poets included. So I'd like to read 2 poems for you from contemporary Irish poets, women poets. Paula Meehan just won yet another prize. She's published by Daedalus Books in Ireland, and she's from the north of Dublin. She's like the Dublin of Dublin. If you've ever seen the movie The Commitments, you know what I'm talking about when they say, and the north of Dublin. So, and I apologize if I seem to slip. It's my grandmother in me. If I slip into a little bit of the tongue, it's my grandmother. But what I love about Paula in particular is that she also incorporates poets from around the world into her poetry, and this one is near and dear to my heart because it takes the old schoolmaster and the new poetry, and you find out what happens when those 2 things meet. It's called Swallows and Willows. When he caught me at the corner with a curly-headed, green-eyed boy, he brought me into detention. Write out, let me see, a verse of a poem, any verse of your choice, but longer than a quatrain, 5 lines at least, 100 times. From The Jailer, underlined 3 times, by Sylvia Plath. I imagine him impotent as distant thunder, in whose shadow I have eaten my ghost ration, I wish him dead and away. That, it seems, is the impossibility. I was neat at first, maybe neat to the 10th time, then a looping downward scrawl. Out the window, swallows and willows and sun on the river. I meant a verse from a set text. I sat at the edge of his class, right into summer exams, sulky and lonely and cruel. And then we have Evan Boland. And something I've learned recently about her and her life is that she spent a lot of time in the U.S. teaching at various colleges, and but she also spent a lot of her life away from home once her mom died. But what I found out about her mom was that she, when the father was an ambassador and he was in New York, they were living in New York, Mom started an organization to raise up modern Irish art, and raised $5 million back in the 50s to bring modern Irish art to the US. It's pretty amazing for the 50s. The emigrant Irish. Like oil lamps, we put them out the back of our houses, of our minds. We had lights better than, newer than, and then a time came, this time, and now we need them. Their dread makeshift example. They would have thrived on our necessities. What they survived, we could not even live. By their lights, now it is time to imagine how they stood there, what they stood with, that their possessions may become our power. Cardboard, iron, their hardships parceled in them, patience, fortitude, long suffering in the bruise-colored dusk of the new world, and all the old songs, and nothing to lose. Thank you.